Hi, lovely people. Welcome back to my channel. And I've got a question for the business heads. What do you think they mean when they say gap in the market? My story time today, I hope to give you a different perspective of what they mean by gap and what your gap may be. How I actually came into business was by pure accident on my part, not on God's part, but on my part. And I'm going to take the story back all the way to school. I started selling after seeing other people sell. I used to see people at school. I think I must have been like in year 10 or something. And I just saw them selling stuff. They were selling like Lucasades, they were selling like Chewits, they were selling, oh, what else they were selling? Wine gum, sweets and drinks. That's what they were selling, right? So I just looked at them and I thought, oh, I could do this. I wasn't trying to force it. I wasn't begging for it. I just looked and I thought, let me just try this. So how I ended up getting the funds to actually start my maybe you can count this as my first business or my first project is that my parents used to give me money every week for bus fare. And yes, this is what I used with my bus fare money. I saved up that bus fare money. Instead of getting the bus, I used to walk. I used to walk to school with my friends. So the money I was getting for bus fare, I would be putting aside. So maybe after a month of walking, I had enough money to get a bus pass for a week into town. So after that, I paid for the bus, got into town, got a bus pass. Now I had access to town for a week. What I did in the mornings, I would get the bus to town, I'll go into pound shop, and I'll get my stock for the day. So I would get my Chewits, I'll get my Lucasades, I'll get my other drinks that I needed to get. What was it? Oasis, that used to slap. Oasis. I can't remember. Can't remember my product line. But I used to get these things and stock it up. Remember Poundland? And one thing about even getting sweets is like a packet of seven or a packet of Chewits, yeah, you would get seven in a big pack for £1. And then I'll go to school with my stock and I'll sell it. I'll sell it. And because I was the only girl on my side of the year selling, I just became the gap. I just became the gap in that field. All the man them were selling, yeah. And what made me stand out from my competition was the fact that I was a girl. Not only that, I was a black girl. Things that usually work out to your disadvantage in the real world, in school, it was favorable. It was an advantage. And because I can speak to people, I can chat, we can bust a few jokes here and there, they liked the character. So they trusted me. I would sell these things, the Chewits, the Oasis, the Lucasades, all the stuff that I used to sell. Chewits, remember, I bought a pack of 7 for £1. I was selling them 50p each. The third pack of Chewits I sold was profit. This was just easy. This was just very, very, very easy. So I did this for a bit, selling at school until the mandem thought they can try and stop me. They can try and stop me. So what happened was, I think their customers started to come to me and they weren't too pleased, which don't hate the player, hate the game. But I was able to identify myself within this market as being different, although I'm selling the same things, just by virtue of my own personality and who I am as a person and my characteristics, I was able to become a new gap. So within that moment, I was selling. They weren't happy. They tried to say, you need to stop. You need to stop your business. Stop. See, your enemies start from young. You think you've got enemies now that you're like in your 20s and 30s. They started from early. There was actually another girl who sold, but she was from the other side of the year and she got caught. I just think you have to be smart in this game. So I didn't get caught. I'm saying it now because I'm incriminating myself. I am telling you the story myself. It's coming from the horse's mouth. So no one can say, oh, blah, 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 blah. This was a long time ago. But I became the gap within the market that was oversaturated with sellers everywhere. There was lots of guys selling, lots of guys. But within my side of the year, there wasn't any girls. And I remember afterwards, I heard about another girl started selling on my side of the year. But there was no competition for me. There was no competition for me. I got really good at what I was doing. And it almost felt like you were doing something illegal, something when you're trying to sell at school, because obviously it was not allowed. And the way you had to do the transaction and what it was mad. It was mad. Every day you're sweating. Every day you think it's your last day, you're sweating. But that's exactly what I did with my um money from my parents, my weekly bus fare money. I saved it. I got myself a bus pass. I went into town. I bought my stock. I sold it at school. And I made a profit from it. I actually got a new name. I won't reveal the name. If you know the name, keep it quiet. I started being called a particular name after selling at school, yeah, and making profit. Because I just had money. I just had money, like weird. Weird for me to have money. So I actually fell into business by accident. But when I reflect, I remember when I was older and I told my mom, I said, oh, mom, I used to sell at school. Ratatatata. She said to me that she used to sell at school. I said, Lord, it's the genetics. It's the genetics. So my mom used to go to a boarding school. And do you know what she sold? She sold biscuits. She sold biscuits. Something to have with this cup of tea. She sold biscuits. Don't ever say that I need to think of some creative new idea. Don't say, oh, I've not thought about. She sold biscuits at boarding school. How many biscuit brands are in the world? Nothing is new under the sun. A lot of people think they have to think of a invention, something crazy that's never happened on this earth. She just sold biscuits, by the way. Like she didn't care too tough about the profit or whatever. It was just something to do to sell some biscuits. Whatever you want to do it smarter, do it more luxurious, do it more affordable, do it for women, do it for men, do it cleaner, do it healthier. There's so many different ways where you can tackle your target market. You can tackle it through doing these things in these different ways. So she sold biscuits. And I actually know another guy, he went to a different school, not my secondary school, but he went to a different school. He had an empire. He had a business empire. Actually, I know of two. They had business empires. They were like in year 11 and they had year 10 selling to them for them, year 9 selling for them, year 8 selling for them, year 7 selling for them. I say, wow. Really, 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 wow. I should have shook their hands, man. That's excellent. I didn't get to that stage. I was just here, just being a solo entrepreneur out here, hustling by myself. They had an empire, they had a hierarchy. In the morning, I used to see them in town because I used to go to one of the schools. They used to go to the opposite school. I used to see them in town. We used to nod our heads because we already knew what was going down. We used to get the stock sometimes, and he would distribute his stock. He had someone in year 10, someone in year 9, someone in year 8, someone in year 7 to sell the stock. And he had his people in year 11 as well, selling his stock as well. But he had a whole empire. Wow. Is this the talent that we have in school? I really wish that they capitalized on this talent and nurtured it and helped us to grow. because unfortunately, that person no longer does anything to do with business, but that talent is there. They did that so effortlessly. The other person does business. Yes, I know they do business, but the other one, the one that had the empire, the business, I don't know what's happened to it. I really don't know what's happened to it. So he doesn't really do that anymore. So he found his own gap in the market and he started a pyramid structure of hierarchy. Year 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. He had a whole pyramid, he had a whole structure behind him. So that was his business. That's how he identified his gap. I identified my gap just by being me. I didn't have to try. Like I said, this wasn't something I was going to force. This wasn't something I was going to put too much effort into. I just did it to see if I could do it. And it worked out well to my favor. And I never got caught because you have to work smart. The game is the game. So when you're trying to look for gaps, think about different things. Like I said, can you do it more luxurious? Can you do it smarter? Can you do it cleaner? Can you do it for women? Can you do it for men? How are you going to do it? By you being yourself as well, you automatically can stand out from your competition. You automatically have customers coming to you. A lot of your customers will come to you because they look like you and they relate to you. That's your gap. If you're selling the same thing as everyone else, a lot of my customers when I was at school looked like me. They could identify with me, relate to me, catch jokes with me. So they trusted me enough to buy from me. And because I always came prepared, I had what they needed, they kept on coming back. Now, the third example I have for you is, if not the fourth, because I spoke about my mom quickly, is someone who I need to clap my hands to. So this is my cousin, yeah. And again, I got consent. I get consent for all of these stories because I can't be having someone text me like, oh, what? So you think you're on YouTube now? You think you can just talk about anything now? Did you ask for my permission? Did you ask for my consent? What? 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 I don't want any of that. I want peace, not problems. So I sent her a message. I said, let me talk about this, please. And she said, go right ahead, go and talk about it. So my cousin, she's a genius. What happened in her situation is that the school that she went to, this is still school days. This is still school days. The school that she went to were on some health thing. They were on some let's be healthy thing. So they cut out a lot of things. They cut out a lot of things. And one of the things that they cut out was ketchup. So what did this clever lady do? Because she's a lady now. What did this clever lady do? She started to sell ketchup. I am not even lying. I want her to even comment. I want you to comment so you can review yourself if you want to. You don't have to. She started to sell ketchup at school. Can't believe that just happened. The joys of recording at home. Anyways, I'm finna cut that out. She would actually get ketchup from home and take it to school. This isn't no small little sachet. She took the family size ketchup and took it to school, put it in her bag and took it to school. And she was charging was it like 25p per squirt? And that's back in the day. So I don't even know how much she would have been charging if she was doing it now. That's a lot even for back in the day. But she was charging 25p per squirt. What a clever, clever, clever person. The school had no ketchup. What did she do? She saw the gap. She said, these people need ketchup. What can I do? I can provide them ketchup. 25p per square. The only way the family found out is one day, I don't know if it was her mom or her dad that was like looking through her bag and they saw ketchup. And you're thinking to yourself, why has my child got ketchup in the bag? So obviously her parents questioned her and that's when she told them about her business empire of selling ketchup. And that's how all of us came to find out about what she was doing and what she was on. But she saw a gap in the market. The school, the system that was in place was not in favor to these people that wanted ketchup. So she took the ketchup from home and she brought it to school and she charged per squirt. And she made money from it. What's 25p for ketchup? What's that when you're a kid and you're desperate for ketchup? What's that? So she found a gap in that market and she sold. And she sold. So again, I'm even starting to think, did your parents get a share? Did your parents get a share of that? Because that was absolute genius. When we were younger and I heard that, I said, nah, she wins. So you're the winner. I'm not revealing your name. You can put yourself in the comments if you want and make yourself known, but you are the winner. You are the winner. So she found a gap in the market. All of these stories that I'm telling you are from my past, from my childhood, but I'm saying these stories because they have a reason, they have a purpose behind it. There are different ways of finding the gap within the market. With my story, my gap was me, just being me, being a black girl, which in today's society may look like a disadvantage, but at school, that worked to my favor. I was selling exactly the same things that they were selling. There was nothing special about my stuff. Not that it was cheaper or anything. It was probably even the same price. But just being me was enough for them to buy from me. In my mother's case, selling biscuits. I don't know what they were feeding them at boarding school, but if you're begging for a biscuit, yeah. If you're begging for a biscuit, yeah, I don't know what you're eating for dinner, to be honest. They wanted biscuits. The market, there was not many people with biscuits because it's not like you can go to the shop and get biscuits at a boarding school. Well, at her boarding school, and it was far from everything. Not like you can get to the shop. So resources were limited. She used that to her advantage. When her parents used to come and see her, or my grandparents, when they used to come and see her, whatever, drop off, here go bag of biscuits. Here go bag of biscuits. And she used to sell them. I don't know how much she charged for her profit, for her like business, but the resources within the area were limited. So she became the go-to person in that area. Again, she wasn't selling anything special. So don't think that you have to be super creative, a new invention that's never been invented on this earth, blah 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 blah. Go to a place where it's scarce and then sell that thing. You can be that's the gap in your market over there. And then the third example I used about the empire, the business empire. He found the gap because he was the only one that I know of, anyways, that had an empire. Everyone is just selling to their people on their level in year 11 and year 10, just selling to their level. He was able to tap into the year 7 market. He was able to tap into year 8 market. He was able to tap into year 9 market, year 10 market. He was able to tap into all of these markets. So he was able to differentiate himself from everyone else that's just selling on their level. Because now, if you can imagine, let's say you have siblings and you tell your siblings, oh, the stock that he's got is game. You're going to listen to your siblings. You're going to go and do what your sibling says, or buy off him, buy off him. You see, that's how he did that. And then lastly, my cousin with the ketchup, she saw a need. The people needed ketchup. They used to have it, now they don't. And no one thought about this but her. So she started her business from listening to the people. Listen to what they want and be that thing. So that's all she did. Just took it from home, brought it to school, squirt, that's 25p. And that's like nothing. That's like nothing. But imagine how many people she would have served that day. Business is actually service. I'll do a whole episode on that. But business is actually service. You have to be willing to serve. If you're not trying to serve these people, don't bother. You provide a service, they'll keep coming back. They'll keep coming back. So, I hope these stories will give you a different perspective of what it means by gap. So when they say gap in the market, look at these different things, these examples that I've given you, to look at how you can be the gap in the market. Like I said, do it smarter, do it for women, do it for men, do it more luxurious, do it cleaner. There's different ways you can do it cheaper, do it in different colors. Whatever business that you want to start, whatever field you want to go into, these things, these different things that you can tap into can help separate you from your competition and can help you be in that gap. Because they always talk about gap, everyday gap, 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 gap. So look at these things and look at your business and see how you fit into that gap for that industry. Forgive what happened with this, yo, like recording from home. Things are gonna happen. Like, I don't have the professional setup, but it will come in Jesus' name. Like I said, I know it's gonna come, but for now you're gonna have to excuse the errors, the blunders, all of that stuff until we get it resolved. But I hope this video was good, gave you some good information, gave you some good things to think about. And once again, my tea's getting cold, so until next time, people. Ciao.